my spirit is saying it's just balancing things that happen that you have no control over, things that happen in your life. It's like when me and Penn split up, it was devastating going through that. And it just really threw me for a loop. But life continues. You still gotta work. You still gotta show up. I mean, in going through the process of breaking up while you gotta do the gigs. That was hard. Most of the challenges that I experienced in terms of the business, it's the business. The business is a challenge, which is why oh my God, my dear, dear, dear students whom I love, I have to say a prayer for them sometimes as I'm like, oh Lord, look after this one. When this one who's, so sensitive and takes everything, so to heart, when this one gets in the business, you're in for a rude awakening. It's that song, it takes a fool to learn that love don't love nobody. That's a different way of looking at love, but it's the same way with our business. They love you when everything is, grand, you got the hit record and all like that, but then it's sometimes folks don't want to hear from you. The business can be really cruel, but for me, it still comes back to you and how you love yourself within the midst of all of that.
Probably my own insecurity as a singer and performer, because I was an only child for about 10 years, and no one in my family is, consistently musical. Like, I don't have a family that grew up singing and playing all the time. So I didn't really have anything to judge, my abilities against until I got out into the professional world and met other professional musicians. And, all I had was my own way of arriving at a song, so that was it. And obviously I learned, from being around people like we've already talked about, Dionne Farris and Rahsaan Patterson, but that took a long time. I think that's part of the reason why I didn't even have a record deal until I was 31. It took a while for me to really pull all of that together. So I was really insecure about my playing ability, not my ability to have good ideas. I knew I had interesting ideas that were powerful, but how to manifest them, communicate them was, it took a while.
The greatest challenges I've overcome in my career. Getting to a place of not needing or desiring anything more than what I receive. Industry has changed so much that the things that we as artists thought we were supposed to have, like tons of radio airplay or this or that, it's now leveled the playing field. Like, that doesn't necessarily matter as much anymore. It matters, but not as much. I can appreciate that it is what it is now, because it allows for artists to be less competitive, maybe. You know, I've never really liked that part of it. The expectations that come, or that used to come, you know, when you signed to a major label, like how you saw your favorite artists in the era that you grew up in, and how the records would be rolled out, and the shows that they would be on, and this and this and this and that to promote the albums. You would expect that when you got a record deal too. You know what I mean? You would expect to be played on the radio. And then you learn all the particulars and the ins and outs of how it really, what it's all really based on, and what it takes to make all these things happen. And you learn that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes than how it appears. The most important thing for me is sustaining my creativity and my passion so that I still want to do what I do. And from there, it's just having an outlet, you know, and making it accessible to people. That's it. And I had to grow into, you know, like a lot of us, manifestation, you know, and really honing in on those things and bringing them to you. And when I look back over my career, again, I only wanted the minimum. That was enough for me. I only wanted the minimum. And the minimum for me was that somebody said, oh, we'll put your records out. You know, and I knew the power of the gift and where the gift resides for me as a blessing, and always communicating through my art purely. And the result of that is what matters the most.
Okay, the greatest challenge in my career was changing careers. I had to come to the realization that I was no longer recording, that I was no longer involved in music the way I wanted to be. I am still involved, but it's more in the background of how I reinvented myself. I'm very happy, I'm very content. I'm older now, so I'm wiser now, and I appreciate everything that comes my way. I received an honor on July 4th, Legends of Vinyl, and the audience was all different age groups. It was about 6,000 people. They were of all ages, and they all knew the lyrics to Cherchez la Femme. They all sang along at the end. And when I received the award, they came out on stage with the award, and when I received it, I thanked the young ones, the old ones, and even the older ones. I said, even your grandparents probably have this album. And I want to thank all of you for this recognition, because this is amazing. To receive an award 40 years later, I mean, it's just the biggest gift that I have ever received in my life, to know that this album is still valid, still functional, still appreciated. And that's all I need.
The German production of Starlight Express was a big challenge. And I think what made it more difficult was that I already knew the show in English. So every time I would forget the German, I would go into English. And so you see the little German, she would say, what the fuck are you talking about? And for whatever mad reason, I thought that by smoking marijuana, it would help me learn the German. Because I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. I'd already done it. For me, that was the the biggest challenge, as well as dealing with disappointment. You know, when it was harder when I was younger. Sometimes you can feel lesser than. Do you know what I mean? Because I was never a dancer. You know, in fact, I remember when I auditioned for Michael Bennett, who directed everything. He directed Dreamgirls. He was doing a show called, oh God, what was this? It was Chess. It was Chess. It was Chess. The guys from ABBA wrote it. And I was up for the role of an arbiter. And what they really wanted was somebody who could dance the hell out of the chess thing. And I apologized. I said, Mr. Bennett, please forgive me for not being a dancer. And he said to me, Rachel, with a voice like yours, you don't ever need to apologize to anyone. You have to know what you want and keep going for it. It may not happen right then and there, but if it's for you, it will come to you. Before Starlight, it was probably my best years of my marriage because I had stopped striving for it. I guess I'm not supposed to be in the theater. I guess it's not supposed to happen. I was teaching at Pineapple 3 days a week, taking my children to school. I was happy because I had let it go. But the Lord knew, I call it the Lord, but the powers knew what my destiny is. And my destiny was right outside my door, like Dorothy. It was a poster, wanted very young people who can roller skate. And I said, well, child, I'm not very young, I can't really roller skate. But that was what I was meant to do. I do believe whatever you're meant to do, it will find you if you believe and stop fighting against it. And it was like when I surrendered to just, that's my family, you know, that's when it came.
I think my greatest challenge was confronting the fact that I could not do anything within the Ike and Tina Turner organization. And I left. There actually was no room for me to grow. It was very difficult, really, because here is an act that went on, you know, to make history, really. It was a unique act, but there was no place for me to grow. And so in order to grow and do different things and find out my capabilities, I had to leave. And so I did. That's why I had all these experiences from, you know, managing a prize fighter to writing songs that a heavy metal group would sing. So I'm very happy with what happened, but I think that was my biggest challenge, whether or not I would stay with Ike and Tina Turner, and I chose to leave.
Personal challenge for me is accepting where I am today. I am not going to be who I was 30 years ago. That's never going to happen and shouldn't happen. Though there was a time when I believed that's what I needed to do. And I see people aging and changing and going through their path, whatever it is their thought processes are and habits are and attitudes are about where they think they ought to be. And I pray for balance for all of us. Not only artists, but everybody. I don't begrudge anyone being happy. I guess there's just a little part of me that wishes that the world would see the beauty of age and wisdom, you know. Because if we're all lucky enough, we'll all get there, you know. The idea of somebody pushing someone who is elderly or hurting someone who's elderly, it just boggles my mind, you know. Yeah, so I would say, you know, not being upset that I can't fit my Grammy dress from, 19, whatever it was. Or, and just, feeling good. Just feeling good. Because one of the things I have noticed is like, as I get older and I look back on some picture or something, I can remember where I was at as far as my weight, my mindset, what hell I was going through in my head, if I liked how I felt, if I, liked how I looked. And I usually never did. Never. It's just like, it wasn't good enough. Oh, you're too fat. Oh, you're too this. Oh, you're too that. No. So now my new thing is, because, I look back and I go, wasn't that bad? Girl, what is wrong with you? So now my new theory is I try to act like I'm 10 years older than I am today, so that when I look at myself now, I'm actually cool with myself. It's like, man, I'm gonna be toe up in 10 years. I look good right now. So I figure if I live the rest of my life like that, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, there are things, silly things. Things that I would love to have done. Roles that I would love to have had the chance to do. But I have what I have, and I did what I did, and people remember. I touched people's lives, Joffrey always said, dancers, don't ever think that it's just about you, because this production, every single night, it's not just about you. It's about the ushers, it's about the conductor, it's about the stage crew, it's about PR, it's about all of that. So treat them accordingly, because without them, we wouldn't. And not everyone listened. I listened. There is a temper there, and I can throw a really good scene. Like a really, really good scene. I used to get off on it. And I thought, no, Christian, you're better that you don't, because it's going to come back. It's about karma. But I could throw a really good theatrical scene worthy of MGM. I can't think. It's sort of a mixture of Betty Davis and Margaret Thatcher. All of a sudden would come out, But I don't do that anymore. I've worked on myself. I work on myself every day and go back on, I could have done that better. Oh, it shouldn't. Because, I'm 72. How much longer am I going to have on this planet? It could be 15 years, could be 5. You don't know. I want to have as clean a slate when I'm gone as possible. And that starts with changing who you are.